All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, it's going to be a quick lesson on pretty much, keeping, the Sabbath holy, because as you know, the IUIC is saying that, it's okay to have, sexual intercourse on the Sabbath, which, could be far from the truth, you know. So I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures on this topic. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. Now, I'm going to start in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse 11. And it says, "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." So as we know, the Elohim, Yahweh Shai, and the elect angels, they created the earth in 6 days, which again, one day to the Heavenly Father, to us is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day, vice versa, which, I'm going to grab that right quick. This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 8. And it says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day." So 1,000 years with us on earth is one day, with the Lord, because again, his time is different from our time, So just bringing out that point that, again, the Elohim, created the earth in, 6,000 years, and in the 7,000 year, they rested, the Heavenly Father rested, the angels. But again, the Lord, pretty much hallowed that one day, man, that, out of, the 6 of the 7 days, you can do work. But in that one day, man, you're supposed to rest, and dedicate that day to the Lord, So I'm going to jump to Exodus chapter 23 and verse 12. And it says, "6 days shalt thou do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine oxen, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed." So yeah, man, the Sabbath is supposed to be, a day of rest, rest from, the work that you've done throughout the week, Now you have these guys saying, "Oh, well, it's okay to, to get it in on the Sabbath." That's wrong. You can't. Because which I'm going to get out, the account where, a man was put to death, for picking up sticks. This is serious, and being that we're in this current captivity here in America, we're not always able to keep, the Sabbath the way we would like to. Some brothers and sisters may have to work, or, anything, man, anything, but primarily, because this Sabbath changes. The Sabbath goes by the new moon, not, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Like right now, it's currently, Saturday sundown to Sunday sundown, So the Sabbath goes by the new moon, and you can't get it in. Why can't you get it in? Because every time you do, you're unclean. It makes you unclean. So I'm just going to grab that. In Leviticus chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 16, and it says, "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then shall he Then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even. So yeah, every time, a man's seed go forth out of his body, he's unclean. It's the reason why after you do the act, you're supposed to wash yourself, because you have a lot of people out here that they don't do that, so they're unclean from doing that because, again, it's a pleasurable act, but it makes you unclean, because you're exchanging bodily fluids, as it says, so not only the man, but the woman also, Verse 18, it says, the woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the even. So yeah, man, after, the deed is done and that man's seed goes forth out of him and into the woman, because that's where it's supposed to go, in order to, procreate. That's how life is created. Once it goes forth, they're supposed to bathe themselves and be unclean until the evening, and pretty much you're supposed to be, clean on the Sabbath day. We're not supposed to do any servile work whatsoever, which I'm going to grab that, that the definition for that word, because on certain, or just I'll say on high holy days in general, we're not supposed to do any servile work, So I'm going to get the definition for servile. This is Strong's H 5656. And this, I was looking at it earlier, how to pronounce it in the paleo. Aida Baha or Ibada, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, or if I'm not, Salakia. But the definition, it says labor, service, labor, work, labor of a servant or slave, labor of servant of captives or subjects. You have the root word, the etymology, the word servile, Strong's H 5647, says to work, serve, to labor, work, do work, So we're not supposed to work on the Sabbath. We're not supposed to do any servile work. And yes, the act of sex is work, And again, it makes you unclean. And then they say they can do that. Well, what's stopping you from saying you can lie with a woman when she's on a menstrual cycle? Which in that Leviticus 18, it pretty much goes into. But I'm just going to grab Leviticus 20. I said 18, Leviticus 15, 19 on down. It goes into, dealing with a woman that's on her menstrual cycle. But again, they say if you can do that on the Sabbath, then I guess this is okay too. IUIC. It's the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 18. And it says that if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness and shall uncover her nakedness, he hath discovered her fountain and hath uncovered the fountain of her blood, and both of them shall be cut off from among the people. It's like, and both of them shall be cut off from among their people. So yeah, man, not only is it, getting it in with a woman in general make you unclean, but also when she's on a menstrual cycle, now you do have, a bunch of nasty niggas out there, and I ain't just limited to, the tribe of Judah, that's of all tribes and even men of other nations. But right now just focusing on the Israelites, man. But you have nasty niggas out there that will lie with a woman while she's menstruating, man. And that's against the law. What I just read, man. You're not supposed to do that. That's her sickness, because as it says, which, I'm just going to go back and grab it, man. Because you're not supposed to deal with a woman when she's menstruating and you're not even supposed to be around her, man. She's supposed to be separate 7 days. So coming back to the book of Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 19, and it says, and if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until evening. Until the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And whosoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And again, man, just goes as to show you how serious this thing is, man, because again, women are more unclean than men, because again, just this alone, women having a menstrual cycle, once a month, that makes them unclean, and they're supposed to be separate, for 7 days, and everything that they touch, is unclean, and you're supposed to be clean on the Sabbath day, man. You're supposed to, it's supposed to be holy, So I'm going to get the book of Exodus chapter 35. Start at verse 1, and it says, the Sabbath emphasized, says, and Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, these are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath. Because yes, man, you're not even supposed to light a fire, as it says, man, because again, that's work. It takes work to start a fire, So that's how serious it was, that you would be put to death for breaking the Sabbath, man. So I'm going to get that account in Numbers chapter 15 and verse 32. And the headline reads, Sabbath breaking punished. This is Exodus 50, Numbers 15 and verse 32. And it says, and while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath. And they found that they that found him gathering sticks brought him in unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death, and all the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him out of the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died. And the Lord commanded Moses. So that's how serious this is, man. Now again, we're in this current society, and we're up under grace. So if we're able to keep the Sabbath, we're supposed to keep it and keep it holy. We're not always able to keep it. I know I'm not always able to keep the Sabbath, because I usually have to work on the day it falls on. But, in the ancient world, you would be put to death for, for breaking the Sabbath, man, for not keeping the Sabbath, man. This is just serious. This is extremely serious, and the IUIC is going way off by saying you can do that on the Sabbath, man. That's not adding or taking away from the scriptures. That act makes you unclean. We're supposed to be clean, man. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, in verse 13, and it says, keeping the Sabbath. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, excuse me, Slakia, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing it, Slakia, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. So yeah, man, there's things like we can do. Like again, it's supposed to be a day of rest, so we're supposed to rest on the Sabbath, man. If we speak, we're supposed to be reading, out of the scriptures on the Sabbath, man. But we're not supposed to be doing any servile work no servile work whatsoever. That includes cooking, cleaning, and the case with that one individual gathering sticks, no work shall be done, but we're supposed to be resting. It's supposed to be the one day that we give to the Lord, And again, the IUIC does not know what they're talking about. And again, they're going to cause a lot of people to be put to death by teaching false doctrine. So you cannot have sex on the Sabbath. So that's it, Lord willing. This lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honor unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I see you, Shalom.